Okay, my name is Bobby Vaught. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you so choose. I'll put a link to lesson 1 in the description below. I've done a series, 16 lessons now, and with more to come. Everything you need to know to understand investing. Okay, so I'll put a link to if you're interested, I'll put a link I'll put a link in the description below to lesson 1, and then every lesson has a link to the next one. So lesson 1 has a link to lesson 2, which has a link to lesson 3, and so on and so forth. If you're interested, go through the whole thing and you'll understand investing better than 99.99% of the people out there. Okay? Today's presentation is not about that. There's two different parts of this channel. There's the investing side, which I just mentioned, and then there's the another side of this channel, which has to do more with political and social commentary and the like. That's today. All right, so I was just cruising through Facebook here, the feed, and came across this little nugget, and I'll just show it to you here, and then we'll comment on it, okay? And here we go. This is just about a minute long or so, give or take.
Hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, you get the idea. All right, so let's just comment on that. All right, so just clarifying here, what she's saying is, just to, kind of recap, and make sure I stop that so it doesn't start over. So just clarifying that, recap, what she said was that oh, by the way, this would have, I was unable to ascertain exactly when that was. I know it was sometime during Trump's first term. And this is July 6th of 2025. That would have been sometime during Trump's first term. I was unable to ascertain exactly when, okay? But in any event, so let's just clarify this. What she's saying is that the stress of not being able to make ends meet, her financial struggles, I'm sure she was just, doing incredibly well during the Obama years. The stress of not being able to make ends meet caused stress, which changed her metabolism, and that's why she's obese. Yeah, I'd love to see the beautiful scientific study on that one. Everything is perceived as racism now. I mean, everything, including something I came across a while back, racist math. It just, yeah, I just did a little search on it here. Racist math and critical race theory. The problem with critical race theory, it insists that we treat every disparity as between different race or ethnic groups. We have to treat every disparity as it must be the result of racism or even systemic racism. Okay, so CRT, it highlights how mathematics education can perpetuate harmful stereotypes and create barriers for students of color. I'm not going to read this whole thing, I'm just picking out a few things. CRT aims to disrupt traditional approaches and advocate for racial justice and liberation in mathematics education. Liberation in mathematics education. My father was a math teacher, a high school math teacher. He knew, he was really good at it. He knew algebra, trigonometry, geometry, anything like that. He knew inside and out. And so I had a bit of an advantage growing up. He died when I was just 8 years old, but he taught me things when I was at a very young age. So anything in mathematics came very, very natural for me. I had that advantage going through life. I may have had a couple of issues maybe in some other classes. Mathematics was not one of them. Anything, trigonometry, you name it. I was able to get through that very easily, both high school and college, in fact. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second. So differing views exist on this topic, with some highlighting the need to address systemic issues and others expressing concern about altering the core nature of mathematics education. Mathematics to me has always been about finding objective truths, okay? So, just for example, trigonometry, I still remember it pretty well. It's been 47 years since roughly 47 years since I took that in high school. Then I had it again in college. But in any event, so trigonometry, for those of you who took trigonometry, you know, okay, so you have, for example, just take a couple of givens here and calculate something. If you have a side, here's a side over here of 3 units, and it creates a right angle, and a right angle goes this way, 90-degree angle, 4 units. If we're going to calculate the hypotenuse, I used to jokingly call it the hypotenuse. Anyway, the hypotenuse over here, right? Well, what would you do? Well, you take 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, add those together is 25, square root of 25 is 5. This side over here is 5, the hypotenuse. That's achieving an objective truth. If you were going to calculate the sine of that angle, 100% this is correct. I mean, mathematics was my deal, okay? So if you're going to calculate the sine of this angle over here, where the 4 meets the 5, the hypotenuse, what would you do? You take the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. So the opposite side is 3 divided by 5, 3/5 or 0.6, right? It's 0.6. Would they come up with a different answer in, I don't know, for example, Japan? Do high school students in Japan, do they come up with some, different answer other than 0.6? Well, I wouldn't think so, but pick a place like, let's just go back and read this here again. Curriculum. This is the CRT. Some argue that curriculum and teaching practices can reinforce dominant cultural norms. Listen to this very closely. This is the CRT theory, and exclude the contributions of non-Western cultures to mathematics. Well, I would have to think that people in, for example, Japan, that would be a non-Western culture, wouldn't it? If you went to, I don't know, pick a place, maybe Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. If you're ever in Japan or Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or any place that would be considered a non-Western culture, find a trigonometry teacher and just ask them, present that problem that I just gave, and just ask them if they come up with a different answer. I'm going to take a pretty good bet it's 0.6. There's a problem with CRT is that every disparity, whether it be incomes between different groups, whether it be differences in rates of alcohol and drug abuse, whether it be differences in, according to her, obesity, or physical appearance, or however you want to describe it, whether it be in incomes, education. You know who's not having any trouble with their math? Well, generally it's Asians, amongst others. They're not having any trouble with their math. I mean, they take all the math classes. They seem to do really well. Just saying. So here's this woman. She's saying that her obesity is being caused by her stress of not being able to make ends meet. And because that stress, according to her, is affecting her metabolism, and so that's why she's obese. Everything is racist now. She even thinks that her obesity is a result of racism. Differences between different groups in their work ethic, their abilities in mathematics, for example, according to the CRT theory, everything has to be perceived as racism now. Everything. Just a couple examples there. Yeah, I'm so sure that, prior to that first Trump administration, during the Obama years, I mean, she didn't show us a photo of herself, but during the Obama years, yeah, we're so sure she must have just looked like Halle Berry at the time. And then Trump got elected and boom, she just blew up, became obese. That's just fascinating. Until next time, hope life is treating you well. You have a great day.